Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, February 13, 2020. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. After 8 months of consultations, desk research, audit, analysis and training, this country's national export strategy is now being finalized. Today at the Grenadines House, the consulting firm Prism Consultancy held discussions with the relevant stakeholders on the proposed national export strategy. According to representative of Prism Consultancy, Michael Supersard, the national export strategy is almost ready for implementation, and it will depend on the government and the various sectors involved to make it a success.
Execution and implementation of the strategy is probably the most important aspect of it all. We did the easy work. It's up to you now to take it from here, and it depends a lot on commitment on your part. You cannot leave it to the government alone, right? Commitment on your part. And we believe that if effectively executed in the timelines envisaged in the strategy, you would have achieved your objective or your vision of being the leading per capita exporter in CARICOM.
The National Export Strategy also received support from the Trade Com 2 program, which assists ACP countries on trade-related matters. Its project manager, Ricardo Tentes, says they will continue to work with SVG as the overall goal is to help with poverty reduction in the country.
I hope to be able to reach out to many of you during my time here and to hear your views on the implementation of the project, as well as reflect with you on possibilities going forward. How Trade Com 2 can assist in directing you to more trade-enhanced support for tangible result in poverty reduction in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but also in the Caribbean region, and specifically for women and youth-owned business.
The National Export Strategy is geared towards propelling economic growth and enhanced trade. Acting Prime Minister and Minister of Housing Montgomery Daniel applauded all involved in the finalization of the National Export Strategy, while highlighting the government's expectations of the new strategy, which he said should help boost the country's competitiveness with trade of goods and services, as well as improving on its export readiness standards.
Much more work can be done in the areas such as professional and management consultancy, technical, trade-related and other business services, so as to improve our exports overall. It goes without saying that in the exportation of such goods, the potential for St. Vincent and the Grenadines to be a major player within the region is limitless, as long as we become coordinated and more organized in our approach. This government recognizes the challenges facing our exporters, particularly our small exporters. And in response to these challenges, the National Export Strategy will recognize.
Some of the sectors to benefit directly from the export strategy include agriculture and tourism. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves and other CARICOM leaders are expected to meet with Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau at the Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM to be held in Barbados next Monday and Tuesday. At the opening of a 3-day community risk reduction training workshop for community groups yesterday at the Methodist Church Hall, First Secretary of Development and Global Affairs in Canada, Matthew Straub, said the visit of his Prime Minister to the region should serve as an opportunity to further strengthen Canada's partnership with SVG and CARICOM countries.
Of course, something I've been working quite directly and intensely on in the past few days is our Prime Minister's visit to Barbados next week to join the heads of government of CARICOM in the intersessional heads of government meeting, and you can certainly stay tuned. There will be more announcements on how Canada is coming to support the Caribbean, including through small grants. I'll leave it at that because nothing has been announced yet, but do stay tuned in that regard.
Sarab said the Canadian government is aware of disaster risk in the region and will continue to provide support where necessary.
A number of projects in the region. Just to give a quick couple of examples, we have a new facility, Caribbean Canada Resilience Facility, which is a $20 million Canadian facility that helps countries following in natural disasters by deploying local and international experts upon request of countries, and by helping governments put kind of policies in place to respond appropriately.
In other news, the negotiating team of the SVG Teachers Union is scheduled to meet next Thursday, February 20th, with the government negotiating team to initiate the first phase of discussions for a new collective bargaining agreement. This comes some 15 years after the last signed agreement between the two entities. It also comes a year after the Court of Appeal ruled in favor and sanctioned compensation for 3 teachers, namely Elvis Daniel Kenroy Johnson and Addison Bash Thomas, who were forced to resign from their jobs in accordance with the relevant clause of the last collective agreement to contest the 2015 national general elections. The SVGTU says it eagerly awaits this meeting as the organization continues to champion the cause of the nation's teachers, ensures accountability to all stakeholders in the education process, and advances the quality of education that is offered to the nation's children. The SVG Community College Library now has additional 1,000 books on its shelves. The books, which the college intends to share with the National Public Library, were donated by Canadian-based Vincentian Dr. David Joyett and were handed over to the institution on Tuesday by Sidney Hall and Bassie Alexander, a longtime friends of Joyett. Director of the community college, Nigel Scott, lauded Joyett's donation and expressed that it is citizens like him who help to make the task of educating the nation's youth easier. Joyett, who did not attend secondary school due to family obligations, now holds a PhD and is a human resources management trainer, facilitator, and coach with a scholarly background in physical sciences, behavioral psychology, and business. Much of his success he attributes to his love for reading. Guidance Counselor Katisha DeBeek Davis is urging members of the public to be their brothers and sisters keeper in looking out for persons who are being abused physically, sexually, or otherwise. In an interview with SVGTV News, DeBeek Davis, who is spearheading a march and rally tomorrow against domestic violence, says while there are some signs of abuse that are not visible, there are some obvious signs that one can look out for.
Sometimes we come to work or the children come to school and you would notice bruises, marks about the body. That would be, for example, in terms of physical abuse, okay? And a lot of the times, for example, children who are sexually abused, their conversations and their acting out in school would give you a clear indication of what is happening at home. As well as if you see a child's grade starts to change or their behavior starts to change at school, then you as the teacher or the person who is supervising them would definitely, if you have been paying attention, you will notice a change in their actions, speech, etc.
DeBeek Davis says while everyone is not a counselor, they can lend an ear and seek help for an abused person.
I know from the guidance counseling perspective, that's part of your job requirement. You're supposed to uphold those values of confidentiality. And in the schools where persons are placed to help the children, for example, that's one of the benefits of having a guidance officer in the school, so that the children would feel comfortable going there to share their experiences and get help.
The guidance counselor is hoping to raise funds during tomorrow's march and rally to assist the two sons of nurse Ariana Taylor Israel, who was gunned down on January 30th. Her husband Mitch Israel has since been arrested and charged for causing her death. He is expected to reappear in court on May 18th.
I'm soliciting funds on behalf of the two boys, the two sons who have been deprived of their mom. And I can only imagine what the financial burden might be for them. But they're young boys in secondary school, and I know they would have financial needs. And I am requesting on behalf of them that we lend some form of financial assistance. And I have gone about and made some ribbons as a token of those who would have contributed.
A new executive has been elected to lead the Police Welfare Association. The elections were held on January 24, 2020 under the supervision of Superintendent of Police Commissioner Blake Byam, the officer in charge of Central Division. 4 persons were nominated to contest for the 3 available posts on the senior branch board, with Sergeants Daniel Prescott, Marilyn Berg, and Rochelle Smith emerging as the representatives for that branch. Corporal Les Harry, Shaki Green, Colin May, and Germano Douglas will be the representatives of the Intermediate Branch Board, while Constables Mose Cummins, Kenroy Martin, and Renford Samuel, Rohan Howard, and Sharika Gordon were elected to be the representatives of the Junior Branch Board. The Police Public Relations Department said that last Thursday, February 8, a meeting was held with the general membership of the association to select the chairperson of each branch board, the general secretary, and the overall chairperson to oversee the mandate and run the affairs of the association. Sergeant Rochelle Smith was selected as chairperson of the senior branch, Corporal Les Harry as intermediate chairperson, and Constable Mose Cummins as junior branch chairperson. Constable Shamora Kwashi was appointed as the general secretary. Corporal Les Harry emerged as the new chairman of the Police Welfare Association after he was ratified by the membership. He will replace Station Sergeant Brenton Smith, who chose not to vie for re-election. Station Sergeant Smith served as chairman of the Police Welfare Association from 2006 to 2013 and again from 2017 to 2020. The new chairman of the Police Welfare Association, Corporal Harry, is a veteran police officer with 23 years of service. He would have served on the executive for the past 3 years as chairman of the Intermediate Branch Board. In more police news now, the police are investigating a report of attempted murder made by a 29-year-old laborer of Glen against some unknown person or persons. The assailant or assailants, allegedly with the intent to commit the offense of murder, did an act which is more than merely preparatory to the commission of the offense by shooting the complainant about his body with a gun at Glen yesterday. The police are seeking the information that will aid with the arrest and prosecution of the offender or offenders. Persons are asked to contact the Assistant Commissioner in charge of crime at telephone number 1784-456-1339 or the officer in charge of the South Central Division at telephone number 1784-458-4200 or any police station officer that they are comfortable with. All information they say will be treated with strict confidence.